Beloved one, welcome. You asked such a pertinent question, one that humanity experiences day after day after day. They struggle. They struggle not only because of circumstances that are out of their control, but they too struggle because their mind has gone adrift and they have led themselves astray with their mind. In fact, their mind is their drug to keep them astray so that they can feel safe. And so, what can one do to be able to feel safe? That is ultimately the thing that is going on here. I'm not referring to grieving. I will get to that in a moment.
Oh, thank you.
I can feel my third eye like opened up like crazy.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
2024 is interesting because people started off the year thinking, okay, now I'm gonna like do my thing, live my purpose, and do all this, and just right away leap into that. But what I was shown was that no, people had to actually slow down because they needed to.
Hi, this is Akanksshaa. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. If you resonate with me, please like, comment, and share. Welcome to Multidimensional Soul Podcast and a Talk Show. On this show, we talk about deep spiritual and mystical experiences of people which we normally shy away talking about. We are more than our physical body. We are spiritual beings on a human journey, and we discuss how a soul exists on multiple dimensions. We discuss science, technology, and spirituality point of views and perspectives on this show. Our purpose is to open our minds to limitless possibilities and our hearts to love and shine the light within bright. Our guest today is Genevieve Taeger. She is a best-selling author, channeler, and a soul purpose coach. She's based in Canada and she worked in the corporate world for 30 years before she decided to follow her calling and live her life purpose. She channels powerful healing and wisdom teachings from the goddesses and the benevolent realm, the higher beings. Since she was 16 years old, she started receiving visitations, initiations, and divine guidance from ascended masters, angels, goddesses, and higher beings from the benevolent realm. She kept it a secret until her late 30s when she shared teachings out of her home. Genevieve found her calling to awaken others to the power of their Holy Spirit and assist them with discovering and living their life purpose. She kept ignoring her calling until she had a breakdown when she turned 50 and dared to quit her job, sell her house, and take a stand for a million others worldwide to heal and awaken the goddess within. Genevieve and I had a long conversation, so this is going to be a two-part conversation. Genevieve is a conscious channel, and she kept her channel open throughout this interview. So this interview is very special. She decides to go in deeper, and then she closes her eyes whenever it's required. So that happened when she channeled Kuan Yin. When I asked her about how people can alleviate or reduce their suffering and how they can deal with struggles in their day-to-day life. Genevieve shared her experience of channeling 70 benevolent beings from the higher realms. We discussed about her journey, how she had very deep spiritual experiences right from her childhood when she was a teenager, and then how she connected with ascended masters, archangels, and goddesses from the higher realms, and how she started channeling. We discussed about what are the misconceptions that are there in channeling, how to do channeling, what are important things, what to do, what not to do. She gave us a detail on what are the differences between archangels, ascended masters, and gods and goddesses. And she discussed about specific qualities associated with different higher beings who have different essence as such. We discussed specifically about Archangel Michael, Paramahamsa Yogananda, Goddess Lakshmi. She even channeled Goddess Kuan Yin with her eyes closed. She talked about how to take your power back and not give it away to the constructs and people in the society. We discussed about the ascension that is happening, especially what has happened post COVID. Why is this thing happening? What are the predictions for 2025, 2026? And what is the guidance for humanity? We talked about the impact of AI and much more. A very enriching conversation, a long conversation. I just love talking to Genevieve, and I hope you love this conversation too. Thank you so much for giving so much love to this podcast and to all our guests and co creating this new art along with us. Do like, comment, and share this knowledge so it is spread across. Thank you again. Lots of love. We have with us today Genevieve Taeger. A very warm welcome to you on Multidimensional Soul Talk Show and a podcast. It's an honor and pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
I understand you are a conscious channel. And before we move ahead, I would like to tell the viewers that we are going to keep the channel open. And if required, if she's called to do so, she will close her eyes and go deeper. That is for any answer or so. If you have not watched part 1, then I highly recommend that you watch that first. This is part 2 of the conversation. You can see on the screen what we covered in part 1, and it was also mentioned in the introduction of this video. 3D matrix kind of things, and especially there's work, and then there is so many things that, so many day to day struggles that people have. And people who have gone through trauma, especially, it is challenging because, and I can speak from my own experience that my 17-year-old kid crossed over in 2020, and I'm very fortunate that he and his higher self both connect with me, and they give me messages, and he visits me in my dreams, my meditations. But at the same time, there is certain, because I'm a human also living here, you as a human life. So it is difficult to kind of, when I'm processing that grief and trauma, I still have to go through it. There is no escape. You have to go through it, feel all of it, and still ensure that, okay, once you have processed that, then you raise your vibration to connect with the divinity and have that connection open to get guided in our day-to-day life as such. So what practices or rituals or routines do you suggest for people who are struggling in their day-to-day life?
Yeah. So when you say struggling, would you refer to all kinds of struggles or grieving?
Yeah, all kinds of struggles. There are certain ancestral intergenerational traumas that we take. There are certain inner child wounds that we have. So there are so many different types of wounds and subconscious patterns that we carry because of which we struggle. And then, of course, then there is day-to-day struggle in whether it's work or anything like normal struggles.
Okay, so Kuan Yin wants to answer that question. So I'm gonna connect with her because it's so much information they want to give. She wants to give, so I'm gonna just tap into that. And just so you know, I touch my heart because what I'm doing is I'm giving myself Reiki and I'm experiencing, and so it enables me to stay focused in this area and to feel the divine flowing through me, which then keeps me in tune. So for those people who want to learn how to channel, that's I wanted to share that. Beloved one, welcome. You asked such a pertinent question, one that humanity experiences day after day after day. They struggle. They struggle not only because of circumstances that are out of their control, but they too struggle because their mind has gone adrift and they have led themselves astray with their mind. In fact, their mind is their drug to keep them astray so that they can feel safe. And so what can one do to be able to feel safe? That is ultimately the thing that is going on here. I'm not referring to grieving. I will get to that in a moment. But with regards to all other situations that occur, the default is always to go to feel safe. When someone's work is not functioning very well, when they're struggling with their boss, then what happens is they feel a lot of pain. They're in there experiencing their pain body. And so what does one do? One then defaults to complaining about the situation and feeling like they're out of control and life is so hard and so forth. And now you know they're going down the negative spiral, believing that everything is so hard. But if they could look beyond that and see beyond the illusion and realize that maybe their boss is having a hard time in his or her life. Maybe that boss is experiencing something that you do not know of. Maybe that boss is not an enlightened being yet and hasn't arrived there. Why not have compassion and understanding for this person so that you can experience a new kind of reverence for him or her as well? Because all divinity is to be revered, everything, including yourself. So when you can have this understanding and this connection, then you can feel, you can return back to the heart center to experience the divinity through everything. And also to show the body that it is safe, to help the body to understand that it is not struggling, that the body tries to reform itself so that you can feel safe. The body thinks it is unsafe in those circumstances. All the circumstances that seem so struggling, then one feels so unsafe. And I'm not referring to actual events where someone's safety is compromised. That is the only time when one should pay attention and make sure that their body is in safe hands. But all the other situations that occur in life, general, the pain that is occurring is in the mind. And so when you can stray from the mind and go to the heart, you can look at opportunities instead of seeing struggles. So the goal here is to see the opportunities instead of the struggles. With regards to grieving, one must experience the loss. One must experience the lost love that they had for that person that they're grieving for, to realize that it was a gift that they had, that precious short moment with this person while they're here in human form. And yes, they can go on onto other planes, and you experience them as well in those planes. But first you must grieve the loss of the human form, that person who vibrated through that beautiful, precious form. And then you move on and you experience the blissful part of who they are now. And you get to unite with that lovely soul in that other plane and experience a new relationship, because it will be new, because you will now dive deep into who they truly are, their true selves, and you will experience a new relationship. You will find that those ascended ones are more knowledgeable, are more in tune with divine wisdom, who know their ways, who are experiencing joy, who realize where the divine is at all times. And so you get to have that relationship with that person. Know this, though, you can also communicate with thought forms, with that person who doesn't exist anymore, you thinking that that is the actual person. And instead, when you can shift your focus and raise your vibrational frequency, because they have raised theirs. Once they have left their body, they're in a different form. They're experiencing their energetic field, and in that energetic field, you're experiencing a rise in consciousness. And so that consciousness is what you are to attune yourself to realize that they are divine beings now, that they are precious ones united with the Holy One. And so raise your consciousness and experience them in their enlightened form. And when you get to experience their enlightened form, then you experience their divine selves. You experience this new relationship, and do not feel like you need to get to know them on the way that you knew them before. Feel that you get to know them on this new way, this new enlightened being, because you too knew them before you came here. And so you also have an enlightened being who can communicate with this being once you leave this planet. So you also know that you can communicate with this being here, but you do not remember who this being is because you are now in human form. So just take some time, raise your consciousness, and be open to the concept that this person that you're to connect to is a new being, is the enlightened being. And this is the place that you return to when you leave this body. You will commune as relationships with each other in your own enlightened selves. So this is the opportunities that you guys get to see and experience with each other.
Oh, thank you.
I can feel my third eye like like opened up like crazy.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. At times, when people are struggling and they don't want to accept there are certain subconscious thought patterns and they become shadows, and then they get entangled in that as such. And these cycles, karmic cycles, continue because they behave in a certain way, and they don't respond to the situations in a different way. So what has been talked about by different channelers and different teachers is that as we are ascending in the fifth dimension or higher, in the higher vibration as Earth, some say that Dolores Cannon or Bashar, they say that there is going to be a split of Earth. The people who have chosen not to ascend, or people who are stuck in these karmic cycles, they will remain on the 3D Earth, and people who choose to ascend to higher vibration will go to 5D Earth. But some of them say that no, everybody is going to go to higher vibrational Earth. So you have channeled so many higher beings. What's your understanding about this from them?
Yeah, what they've shown me is this: is that when you're in 5D, you are there just from your consciousness alone. You don't need to. So we have this misnomer of thinking that we have to physically travel to some new thing, new 5D planet. But that's not the case. The case is that the moment you think in 5D consciousness, you already are there. You're experiencing that. And you witness it around the world now, is that like it's crazy to see how many YouTube channels, how many podcasts, how many like events, Joe Dispenza and these other people, and they're having like thousands of people there at these events, and they're all talking about high kind of stuff, connecting to this source and experiencing the greatness that we are and all this kind of stuff. So this consciousness, that state of being is 5D because they're aligned with that truth of who they are. So the thing here is there are people who are in the 3D world who are destructive, who are thinking illusory thoughts, and they get to live like that if they choose to. It's their choice, and they cannot shift until they've usually people only shift if either they have a desire and they love it and they find it fun, or they've experienced extreme problems in their life and they're at their wits' end. They need to do something about it. So if they don't have one of those two, they're going to stay in that state. And some of them will destroy things. To me, it seems so archaic to even think that there are still wars. It just doesn't make any sense. It's crazy. Like people kill each other. It's insane. It literally is a state of insanity if you think that that's a solution. So that's very 3D. and very barbaric. That's the words I'm hearing. It's very barbaric and like stupid, period. It's just dumb. So that part will continue as long as people continue being that way. But the good news is what the beings have told me, and is that when we focus on the beauty in everyone else, then what happens is some people who are lost will remember that part of themselves, because you cannot extinguish, this is what they're saying, you cannot extinguish the flame of love. It's impossible. It cannot be extinguished. There's a little ember always burning in through you. And that, in order to rise that ember into a beautiful flame, all you need to do is see the beauty in someone else. And so you hold, it's like you're holding a mirror by smiling at them and seeing their beauty. And when that happens, their flame, their ember starts to go on to get lit onto a flame. And it starts to, this beautiful flame starts to rise. And something will happen where they won't forget that moment. And then another person does it, and another person. And then next thing you know, something's changing inside of them. So that's what it's taken. It's interesting when you think about it, is that concept of that Jesus had said, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Yeah.
And what they talk about in all the religions is to love, to be kind, to give. Well, the whole point of that is that when you do that, they remember who they are. When you give out of, you're just kind to people, you're giving your love, you're giving whatever you're giving, they remember this part of themselves. And so this is everyone is waiting for this 5D thing to happen. And it is here the moment you think this divine truth through you, the moment you become the divine truth, that's when you're living the 5D world. And so what we are meant to do as a humanity is be that now and experience that. In any human form, we're supposed to experience our spirit thriving through us, because we have been created a form so that, not to deal with karma, we've been having a form so that we can create and manifest beauty into the world. That's what we're designed for. And the form enables that to happen. Whereas when we're in the spirit form, it's different. We are more like we just are. We are experiencing the love. We are this. But in form, we get to manifest things and create creations and expand the world through these creations, expand the universe through these creations, not just the earth itself.
Yeah, true. We've seen that there is so much of surge in especially awakening post-pandemic. And a lot of people have been talking about spiritual awakening and raising the vibration and going to higher dimensions as such. So why do you think that this is happening at this time from so many people across the world? If you would have had this same conversation, let's say 10 years back, people wouldn't be so open about it.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing that I was told was that Mother Earth, Great Gaia Spirit, so the frequency of the Earth needed to also shift, because we resonate to the Schumann frequency, which is the frequency of the Earth. Our bodies naturally resonate to that. Many years ago, like almost 20 years ago, it was a constant 7.82 hertz or megahertz. I can't remember if it's hertz or megahertz. And now it's amazing what it is now. It jumps between 15 to 64, 100 sometimes. When it was 7.82, our bodies resonated. That's what the frequency of our bodies was. And when the earth raises in vibration, then people are forced to raise in vibration. It's impossible for them to vibrate lower through like the tuning fork. When you're using the same note, it's gonna. So this is what happens with humanity, and the the shift in consciousness was happening with Mother Earth, and it was starting way back, from what I remember, in 2008. It was moving, and then it was increasing, and each year it would just be increasing, but exponentially. And people would have to experience bursts of energy shifts. And it was a lot actually to handle, especially for those who were sensitive to it. Others would experience it in different ways through just maybe having challenges in life and so forth. But for me, it was actually it was a lot to handle energetically. And so this shift in consciousness had to happen in alignment with the stages of Mother Earth shifting. And now the pandemic was perfect, as much as we hated it. It was perfect because it was the state, it was the time when people realized that we're all connected. And now there's a heartfelt, we're open the heart center of the earth. And people started to experience a love for each other internationally. And when that happened, that enabled a huge expansion of consciousness. And the earth had risen so much and had gone through, like in 2018, I tell you, that those shifts were huge. It was very difficult for me to handle all those energy shifts. It was profound. I remember that in August 2018, and then the next year, and then it just kept happening. So this is it's what they say is divine timing. It's not just because of the humans deciding when they want to change their consciousness. It was because the planet itself was also vibrating at a certain consciousness. And what Great Gaia Spirit is saying, so I channel Great Gaia Spirit as well. So she's saying that there was a lot of trauma in the field of the earth itself because of all those wars and all those barbaric situations for centuries. And that field was buried in the earth as part of the earth. And so that had to slowly heal and shift and transform. And it couldn't have done it overnight. Otherwise, she says, we would have been ablaze. So we would have been all on fire. We wouldn't have been able to handle that shift in consciousness. And so what she has said is she's forcing people to change now, because now's the time. Because the planet is ready for advanced consciousness. When planets evolve, when planets are born, first come the bacteria, the bacteria, and then the little, whatever you call those little amoeba things, little growth starts to happen. And so that's a phase that happens over time. And then eventually humans come into the existence, animals come into the existence, and now they have to learn what it's like to even live and live safely amongst the animals and so forth, and then build their own huts and have shelter and so forth. So we couldn't have come completely advanced knowing everything about what to do. We could have in one sense, but I'm guessing in this sense, in our planet, we didn't. We came as, slowly evolving. So we had to clear all that trauma and shift the consciousness. And so now we're ready for this shift. We don't need to be having the wars anymore and those things. We are now ready to advance to that 5D consciousness.
You mentioned that there have been a lot of energetic shifts and they affect all of us. You talked about 2018. I understand 2024 is also quite a roller coaster ride, and 2025 and 2026 are also going to be the same. And there are going to be solar flares and energetic changes that are going to happen. So what can you talk about? What is going to happen? How do these solar flares affect us? How do these energetic changes affect us? What is going to happen in 2024, 2025, and in the next decade?
Yeah, so starting last year, there was a huge, actually 2018 timeframe, there was a huge emphasis on clearing trauma. And then 2023 was more aligned with okay, what is my purpose? What am I going to go towards? There's got to be something more meaningful to life. And then there's this kind of this dichotomy people were having. They're wondering, what kind of life should I be living? Should I be living this old life, or should I be doing something new in my life? And so people started dancing towards this, creating a life of meaning and purpose. And this has been opening up, registering in their minds, I would say 2022, 23, 24. Now, 2024 is interesting because people started off the year thinking, okay, now I'm going to like do my thing, live my purpose, and do all this, and just right away leap into that. But what I was shown was that no, people had to actually slow down, because they needed to get still and to listen to the guidance that comes. But they also needed to get still to see themselves and how they're operating, and learn that with this new person that they're about to become, they need to operate differently. They cannot continue the same way with that new meaningful type of life. That new meaningful life is of different vibration. And so what they're saying is like, you got to take off those clothes and put on a different set of clothes. So the key thing here is 2024, 2025 is about, what is it that you can release that is not serving that future self? And no matter what, people will try, they'll try to go do their thing, and then all of a sudden something's not working. You know, maybe they had signed up to something and now they don't have any time to do it, or things happen that are telling them they have to slow down, because they have to get serious and make decisions. Some people, unfortunately, are having like anxiety attacks and panic attacks and being forced to slow down. Like, I don't wish that upon anyone, but it has happened. And it happens when we're not listening and we're not taking the courage to slow down, because sometimes we feel like we don't have time to slow down. We have no choice. We've got to do these things, but we can make a choice. Sometimes we are too afraid to ask for help from others. And what is it that we can do to change so that we don't have to do all those things anymore? Maybe some people can help. Maybe we can decide not to make something as important yet as something else. So that's the stage of this year, next year. And then there's a dance in between where people will start to rise above that and be able to move towards, in 2026, towards living their authentic selves and being able to explore that. And then I can see in 2027 it's going to be like this thing where they can keep evolving, and they've discovered that, you know, maybe some new thing about themselves that they want to do. They discover it, they do it, and then suddenly a new door opens and they discover another level of themselves. And so they will keep evolving, and they will keep having this excitement for the next new thing and keep going. So it's going to feel like time will speed up really quickly, and you know, like the years will go by really quickly. It's going to feel like that because you're in a higher vibration. You're in that creative field where you're just thinking, oh my goodness, because when you're in that creative field, you get all these downloads that keep happening. And you just get these ideas popping up. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. That's why technology is going to completely change. So the cars, all that stuff, it's not going to be the same way. How we transport from one place to another, things are going to shift. Eventually they're going to have to shift from using up resources to using free energy, really being able to use, you know, energy from the microscopic molecule, like going down to and using that as power, realizing that why can't we move into the advanced technology? We have the ability, because people will be tapping into us. And now too many people will know about this technology, where that technology has been hidden for so many years, kept away from people. So when this technology now comes to the surface, it cannot be denied anymore when so many people know about it. So then the government will be admitting that they realize this, and they're going to now say, okay, this is a great idea we just discovered, which they actually knew about a long time ago, and they will start implementing that. So things will change because too many people will awaken. So it's going to be a great journey because now there's going to be this enthusiasm, this excitement. The kids that will come in, they will learn new things. So people realize the university thing is old school. It's not the way to bring in wisdom. The wisdom comes through you, and so learning how to do that, and then the schools will be presenting this part of themselves. Now this is maybe like 10, 15 years from now, so I'm kind of going way in advance, but it's a positive process.
Oh yeah, it's high time that they change the entire education across the world. It's so archaic. For so long, we're just used to using our memory and, depending on that, all the standardized exams and all that. Yeah. So when you mentioned about technology, it's very interesting. I was thinking whether we were going to learn how to teleport ourselves. Uh, when you said that minute level energy, and maybe we'll be able to do that. What about the AI? I am quite intrigued by the way AI is developing, and AI is not going to go anywhere. How much ever, there's a debate that it should not be there, and it'll overtake humanity, and it is again the same debate that they had at the time of Einstein about nuclear weapons and all that. So, what do you think of the AI?
So I'm just told something right now. So I have a concern about it myself, and the main concern I have is the people that are lost souls, who are doing implantations. So that, they'll do a chip implantation so they can scan to get through a door and like all this kind of stuff. And they're really, and some people have like a girlfriend or a boyfriend who's a robot. I mean, this is like crazy when you hear these things. That's just not, that's lost souls. That's souls who don't know this divinity that we're talking about, that they are this. So my concern was that with AI, and the generations where they're on their phone and they're just constantly on their phone, they can't get off. That part has to change. So my concern is with AI, it attracts even more of that, more going into that and bringing and feeling that like it's almost like you're polluting the air, that feeling where you can't even breathe anymore. So that terrible feeling of this vibration coming in. And what I'm told is not to worry, because when people awaken, not those people, but like when people around them awaken and are advancing themselves so quickly, it's impossible to slow things down. And what will happen is those people who are lost, they'll start to awaken and they will lose interest in always being with this technology and letting it run them and all that, and robotics, all this nonsense. So, because we can actually use AI to our advantage, but the key thing is we need to shift from that consciousness that I'm talking about, because that can be very dangerous. And that's what I'm worried about personally as a human. I'm totally worried about that. However, what the benevolent realm is saying to me, Genevieve, you're not seeing everything. You're not seeing how quickly people will be advancing and connecting to divine truth. So that will, it's just like what they're showing me is kind of like this huge shift in energy, but it moves at light. So this is what they say: it moves at lightning speed. It moves like faster than the speed of light, kind of thing. Whereas those people who are, lost in the dungeons, that kind of feeling, they're saying that's much slower. That growth is much slower because it's a lower frequency. So they're saying if you can understand how things work on frequency levels, then you'll know that a higher frequency actually moves faster. It's kind of what they're trying to say. It's a bit complex with the way they're explaining it to me, but don't worry about it. What they're saying is focus on the good. Just keep creating it. because when you do that, more of that just keeps happening.
Wow. Yeah. You talked so much about Earth's frequency changing and we ascending because the Earth itself is ascending. There are a lot of things happening. There are some star seeds, as in souls from other planets, other galaxies taking birth here for the ascension. They come here specifically for the ascension. At the same time, there is an exodus of souls from Earth because some souls can't take this dense vibration and they want to leave Earth. So a lot of chaos is happening overall, if you see that way. But what I understand is that Earth as a planet is very significant in the overall cosmic evolution. So, what is your understanding about that from all the higher beings?
So when you're saying it's like it's significant with the cosmic evolution, so you mean like the evolution of other planetary systems? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So what I understand, and this is there in dollar scan books and everywhere, that Earth is a very different planet. It's the hardest school that actually souls come to learn certain lessons. And some people who were there on my podcast a few weeks back, they channeled Venusian beings. So there is going to be a mass or public disclosure, they said, that is going to happen in 2026, that aliens are going to come. So there is certainly a significance of Earth as a planet in the overall, not just the solar system, but in our galaxy and in the universe. So I wanted to know from the higher beings that you channel with, what is your understanding about all of that?
So what they're showing me is that we need to see past how we see Earth as something separate from Saturn, from Jupiter, from Mars, and so forth, that we are seeing them as separate. And what they're saying is it's all one. And if we could understand that, then we can understand how each influences the other, how Earth influences them and they influence us together. In the same way, they say that, like, if I were talking to some people and then we're having a good conversation, now I just influence them to feel better, or vice versa. So that's kind of how they're saying it, is that it's we're all influential together as a system, as a galaxy. And not only that, but each galaxy is influential with other galaxies and so forth. So to come up with time frames of how we are all being impacted, what I'm being shown is that people come into form, have been people who are in human form, have come from different places, have come from different planets, have already experienced different planetary systems, or have been ascended masters and who are reincarnating here, that kind of thing. So what they're showing is it's not like this thing of like all of a sudden you're having aliens here in their own form living on this planet, because they cannot handle the atmospheric conditions of our planet. It would be too much for them to handle. However, what's good to understand is that they're making a joke. It's like we're all aliens because we all came from different places. This time that we lived in this human form is so short that we are eternal beings, and we've experienced many different bodies over the years, not just human type of bodies, but all kinds of forms. So they're trying to encourage us not to see that it's something like all of a sudden the planet is going to have aliens here. They said that's not the case because of the atmospheric conditions, and there's no purpose for it. However, people are here to awaken the planet, and there has been an in-stream of people, like humans, beings coming through and living in humans who have lived, who are more advanced and who are bringing forth teachings. Like some of us, many light workers, what I have been told many times is that we didn't have to come here. We wanted to come here. That we didn't need to live on this planet because this planet was pretty slow. But we chose to come here to assist humanity to awaken. So there are many, many, many light workers who have come to assist, to awaken, knowing that we're going to suffer living this type of way.
Yeah, true. That's what even I understand, that we chose to come here for doing the work as such. Now, as we are awakening, there are
different approaches or different processes through which we awaken. One of the significant ones is dreams, and my favorite because I get a lot of downloads through dreams. Whether I do astral travel, I remember it in my dream, or prophetic dreams, I get messages through my dreams. So I understand you have also done a lot of work about dreams. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. It's interesting because my dreams nowadays, they just seem to be about work. I wish they were like they were before. And maybe they're not because I can connect now without dreaming. But the dreams then were, I even had dreams of my brother visiting me and putting his hand into my face, and he put his hand through it. And then when he did, my whole head became light, the vibration, the sound, and everything. And then he pulled back, and then he smiled, and he had this smile on his face, and kind of telepathically said, "I'm going to do it again, so you know this is real. This is not just a dream. This is a real thing." And my grandmother came to me, and she hugged me like right after she died. And my dad did a funny thing. So he's passed too, and he would show up in my dream the same night he would show up to my mom's dream. And what he did with both of our dreams was we'd have a dream happening, a certain story, and then all of a sudden he's standing there with his hands crossed and just looking at this dream going by like this. So he didn't fit the actual dream. And we just see him there like suddenly being part of, but he's not part of the dream. He's just observing the dream. And so he did that. It was kind of his way of being a joker and letting us know that he's there and he loves us. So he would do that the same night, but same way to my mom as well. And then, like I mentioned already, the Ascended Masters that would come and give some teachings. So they would come. Yeah, so that's basically the dreams that I've had.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, I ask all my guests some questions, like a rapid fire. So can I ask you those questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. If you were to explain multidimensional soul to a lay person, how would you explain it?
That we are here as a temporary existence, this human form, that we are not human, that we are this presence. And when we can realize this, then we will experience this presence, not just while we're here in human form, but afterwards as well.
What is holistic well-being to you?
That's where we are returning to wholeness, where we realize who we truly are. Because when we can actually heal ourselves instantly. I mean, this is like, I can't wait for that moment. But to heal ourselves instantly is to realize that we are whole. It's funny because I just did a post on this with elephant spirit. So it's interesting that you asked that question. So the key thing here is if we understand that that we are one with the divine, when we know this, this means we know that we are omnipresent, that we are whole, that our organs know how to function, that they're tapped into the intelligence. They know how to clean. They know how to give ourselves the nutrients. Everything is whole, that we can be fully restored in this knowing. We can actually instantly heal ourselves the way Jesus did with others. That, though, I mean, that takes a lot of work, but that's the state of wholeness. And when we have that, we are living life holistically. So holistically, then, all aspects of our lives, our mental health, our spiritual health, physical health, emotional health, it all restores, and we're united with that that greatness.
Yeah, beautiful. What is the ultimate purpose of life, according to you?
To live our spirit's desires, to create them, manifest them on earth.
What is love, according to you?
Love is God. Love is the divine. Love is the energy of the divine. It's a quality in the energy of the divine, and we are it.
And what is self-love?
When you are love, you are self-love. When you experience love, when you are it, when you are the energy, then you are just love. You don't even have to self-love because you are love. So it's impossible to love yourself when you just are love. You just are love. You emit love, and that's it. You are the quality of love.
What's your parting message for our audience today?
I would say, so what I'm being shown is, which the Ascended Masters are really inviting us to do. And they say they have compassion, like towards us with our thoughts, but they really want you to be observant of your thoughts, because they say this will change your life. It will change your life. Wayne Dyer wrote a book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, or Change Your Life, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, something like that. And if you can really be kind to yourself, because when you start to become aware of your thoughts, you may think, you may be hard on yourself and thinking, oh God, this is terrible, my thoughts. Don't. Have compassion, because everyone goes through this. You're not alone in this. But the joy is that you get to change them. And when you do, you create a new pattern in your life. And in a short 3 weeks, you will shift your behavior, your thoughts, and you will start to feel joy again in your life. It doesn't take long, just those 3 weeks.
Where can people find you? How can they contact you?
They can find me at liveatransformativelife.com. If that's too hard to spell, GenevieveTaeger.com, and you will find me there.
Yeah, we'll provide all the links in the video description. So it's been absolutely lovely talking to you, Genevieve, and I'm so glad that we had the presence of all the higher beings with us throughout this conversation. And you're doing amazing, amazing work. So thank you for that. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It was a real treasure being with you.
Thank you for watching and listening in wherever you are in the world. As Ramdas says, that we all are just walking each other home. So thank you for co-creating the new earth along with me and our guests. And if you resonate with me, do subscribe to my channel and do let us know how you find our episodes. Thank you so much. Lots of love.